Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Season. I am Tyler, and this is where I talk about all types of animation, movies, cartoons, anime, that sort of thing. Today I'm talking about the second SpongeBob movie, SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water. Yeah, good times. This was probably highly anticipated because the first SpongeBob movie was so good, so loved by SpongeBob fans, especially myself, one of my favorite movies. So it's like, oh man, finally coming out with a second SpongeBob film. What is this gonna be? Does it live up? Does it, all that stuff? And I think it does. I think this is a good film. It's fun. I don't think anything will ever touch the first SpongeBob film. But hey, it's tough to recreate perfection. You know what I mean? But there are a few things I want to talk about with this film. I do want to talk about the relationship between SpongeBob and Plankton. It's a very interesting one. I want to talk about Bikini Bottom, just how it runs on Krabby Patties apparently, because that's really dumb. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about that 3D, the 3D elements to this film, because that's a very new thing, right? So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. So let's get into it. SpongeBob and Plankton, right? Probably the most opposite characters in the entire SpongeBob universe. In the very beginning, the secret formula disappears from their hands, right? They're fighting with it, disappears. They're like, Plankton is just, he's an evil weasel, right? He definitely is the one who took it. But SpongeBob was like, no, that's not how it happened. I was there. It just disappeared. If it just straight up disappeared, he didn't take it. There was nothing he could have done. And that's like a big thing because SpongeBob defending Plankton, even the thing where he's, I think SpongeBob says something where it's like, hey man, I don't like Plankton. He's been trying to steal the formula all this time. But this one time, Krabsy, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything. He's not the one who did it. It's a big moment, not just for him, but also for like the film itself, because it's like, oh, this is how this is gonna work. Because they end up running away together. Because Plankton could not be prosecuted for something he didn't do. And then SpongeBob, being the good fellow that he is, he's like, I'm going to help Plankton. I'm going to help exonerate him because it's like, I know he didn't do it. Like, I know for a fact he is not the one who took this formula. And so I'm going to help him with all the fiber of my being, And so SpongeBob tries to teach Plankton about being on a team. It's like, hey, we're going to do this. I'm gonna show you what a team is. Plankton has a very funny bit where he keeps saying like T-ham, or he literally does not know the word team. But it is important because he's like, hey man, we're gonna do this together. We need to work together. We got strengths, we got weaknesses, we gotta cover each other's weaknesses. This is how we're gonna get out of this. This is how we're gonna figure out how to prove that you're not the one who did it, as well as getting the original formula back, because we need that. Which we'll talk about later, about how Bikini Bottom runs on Krabby Patties and it will devolve into chaos without them. We do have a slight breach of trust where Plankton goes inside SpongeBob's brain, he's like, oh man, he's seen the formula, he's made Krabby Patties a million times, he's got to have the formula in his brain tucked away somewhere. Not the case, apparently. Not the case. Also, crazy, wild, like acid trippy scene where you don't want to go into SpongeBob's brain. It will freak you out. There was some crazy stuff going on there, some candy canes and sugar plums and unicorns. It's like, this is wild. No one wants to be, especially Plankton. Like, Plankton literally goes mad, in in the deep recesses of SpongeBob's brain, which is very funny. But they eventually come out on top. They're able to make a time machine, which is ridiculous. Together they can make a time machine. Not really what I was expecting from the film. Didn't really expect this film to go into time travel. Didn't know that was necessary to resolve the plot of this film. But hey, it's SpongeBob. SpongeBob can do anything. Another crazy thing, like probably the most just like out of nowhere, just like what is happening? Who thought of this scene? Was SpongeBob and Plankton allowing Saturn and Jupiter to collide because they're taking over a brief shift while a cosmic dolphin who normally overlooks all of existence, he goes on a bathroom break. and they allow two planets to collide. I'm like, oof, that doesn't look good, right? That doesn't look like that's what's supposed to happen. So yeah, that's a scene in the film where they again fail at whatever their intended, instructions were supposed to be. And at the end, Plankton does turn on SpongeBob when they realize they took the wrong bottle. Like throughout the film, it is nice, through their time travel and their TM and all that stuff. They do get closer, and like Plankton does learn to trust SpongeBob and kind of likes being on a team and kind of likes having the back and forth. And it's nice. It's like, oh man, Plankton's coming around, good old Plankton doing a good old 180. But then at the end, when they realize that SpongeBob took the wrong bottle, it all erodes. It all gets destroyed where he's just like, you're an idiot. I hate you. You should have never been on a team. I should have done this myself. And it's just like, hey man, we're doing the best we can. It was a easy mistake, right? And like, we're still a team. We can still do this. Yelling at me. This is my show. This is my movie. My name is in this twice. But it just kind of sucks to see, because that is kind of the low point of the film. At that point where it's like, oof, not a good relationship anymore. But then Plankton does come back around after they get their superpowers, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But they do get their superpowers, and they do kind of realize that being a team is good, and there are other things out there that we got to worry about, and just bigger fish to fry, I guess. That is kind of the arc of SpongeBob and Plankton, and how it is an unlikely pair, but I think that this movie does a good job of making us care about this pair together, and like them wanting to trust each other and like each other and work together. And it's nice. It's nice. It's something we don't see too often. Speaking of the formula, like I said, Bikini Bottom needs Krabby Patties, apparently. Because when the formula is stolen, Mr. Krabs leads a town-wide plankton hunt. The entire town of Bikini Bottom, their top priority in life at that moment is getting the Krabby Patty secret formula back. Because without Krabby Patties, the world crumbles. Quite literally, when hope is lost, because Krabby Patties are the symbol of hope in this universe, when hope is lost, the town turns into a Mad Max scenario, where it is instantly, and I mean instantly, a post-apocalyptic landscape where everyone is fighting each other, fending for themselves. The society has regressed hundreds of years, thousands of years maybe. Very, very wild to see. Patrick even betrays SpongeBob. We have a moment where he's hunting him down, but then he thinks SpongeBob gets through to him, and then Patrick traps him, and says, "Hey, he's right here. Get him, get him, the traitor." It's like, ooh, Patrick. Wow, we thought Patrick was a little more loyal than this. Sandy turns into a conspiracy theorist, like she's off her nut. And she's the Krabby Patty gods, or it's like, oh man, we thought Sandy was smarter than this, more of a scientist, more logical than this. But nah, man, without Krabby Patties, she goes wild. Anything, any possible sign that that we can look at and analyze and be like, this is how we get them back. We need these sandwich gods. We need to appease the sandwich gods. The town locks up Karen, a computer, because they think that, she may know something, or at the very least, Plankton might come back to try to save her. SpongeBob's a good fellow, so he might do that as well. They're really ruthless in this film. And then when the secret formula isn't brought back by SpongeBob and Plankton, they decide to sacrifice SpongeBob to the sandwich gods. They're like, you know what, boys? Here's how we get this back. Sandwich gods aren't happy, right? That's why, right? Krabby Patty secret formula is stolen. They're unhappy about that. So they are punishing us. They're punishing us by having us turn on each other, taking away our humanity, or our underwater fish manity, you know what I mean? So what do? Give them a sacrifice. Everything will be green and lush again. They will magically give us the formula again, and we will live our life. Crazy. Absolutely insane that this is what they've decided. It doesn't work, obviously, but this is what they've decided. This was all the greatest minds and all of the worst minds in Bikini Bottom. This is your best plan? This is all you got? You can like table that and be like, all right, we're gonna have a whiteboard. we're gonna write plans down on a table. You wrote one plan down on that whiteboard and you were like, best one. We're not gonna get better. Absolutely crazy. But lastly, I do want to talk about that 3D. Now, if you know me, all about 2D, right? I love the look of 2D. 3D's never been my thing. Obviously, companies like Pixar and whatever, they make 3D look incredible, right? I'm not saying I don't like 3D, but I've always been more of a fan of the traditional 2D look. It's just, it's just taste. The same thing as food, right? Where it's like, some people might like onions, some people might not like it. Onions, doesn't mean onions are bad or good inherently. It's just, it's just taste, just personal tastes. But the 3D in this film, I think it looks really good. I don't think it was just slapped on there. I think it looks really good. The lighting, the colors, the movement, all that stuff. I think it looks good. And I'm glad it was only at the end. I'm glad that their second film, they weren't trying to diverge completely away from the look and feel of SpongeBob, in general. It was just kind of at the end where they were like, hey, we're gonna have this cool real life scene and we're gonna make it 3D, which again isn't far-fetched. I mean, they have live action scenes in the regular SpongeBob show, and also a big huge scene in the first SpongeBob movie was live action with the whole Shell City stuff. So it's like it's kind of a thing for SpongeBob to go live action at points. And so for them to say, hey, here's an opportunity for us to do 3D, because 3D might meld a little bit better than 2D does with live action, I am mad at that. I am mad at that at all. And it made the fight scenes look really cool. They were able to do kind of different stuff with their powers and and all that stuff. I thought it meshed really well with the live action elements, with them fighting off like the pirates and the cannonballs and all that stuff. I thought it was nice. And even like the like beach scene when they first come up and they're like, oh, what are these fish look weird, I thought it all made sense, and then also the space dolphin, with it just being like, we got a space dolphin here, so there's this is happening now apparently, possibly because this is an underwater universe, but also possibly not. They're just like, hey, we got a space dolphin, this is what we're doing, so all in all, I think that the 3D stuff was good. I know people had complaints about it. I personally love more the 2D look, whether it's traditional or rigged or puppets or whatever. 2D is just kind of my personal thing. But, I thought the 3D wasn't overbearing in this film, and I thought it meshed well with the story and also everything else in these scenes. But yeah, that is SpongeBob 2, SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water. I thought it was a good film. Again, it doesn't come close to the first film, but I don't think any SpongeBob movie ever will, because the first movie was just special. It was just a special moment in time for that. But I thought it was fine. I think people are too hard on new SpongeBob. Personally, of course, I love the first few seasons. 1, 2, 3, even 4, and of course, those are my favorites. But I think people are way too harsh on newer SpongeBob, and I think a lot of it's just because it's new, just because they're like, new stuff sucks. It's like, nah, man, I think new stuff can be good. You gotta embrace change. And but anyway, that's the movie. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you think it's compared to the first movie. What you thought of the 3D bits at the end, what you thought of the different story elements that they kind of introduced here. Please also go check out the other cartoon season episodes, either on the Tiger Tea YouTube channel or on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Everywhere you can find this podcast will be in the link down below. Also go check out other stuff on the channel. I do some animation reactions as well as some gameplay stuff, so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, until next time, watch more SpongeBob. I'll do the third movie at some point, I'm sure. Let me know what other stuff you want to see on this podcast, whether it be anime, cartoons, movies. And until next time, watch more cartoons.